give me my reading summary in Fable. I was looking for that.
I know, God loves me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my now existing channel. I'm so excited. I'm always excited to film, guys. I really miss you. I cannot keep on procrastinating this video. I cannot keep putting it back. We're almost in April, and I usually at the start of every year do a book tag. I just want you guys to know I haven't forgotten about the books. I have been in a book reading slump for sure. I haven't been reading. My routine has kind of changed and shifted, which I will talk about in this video. So without further ado, let's get started. My pacing with books now has changed. When I read in the past, it was like in a one sitting read. Now I take things one step at a time. In fact, it's even more slower than usual. My speed is all right. Sometimes when I am very entertained with a book or very interested and invested, I do try to finish it ASAP. But I recognize I have other things to do in my life and I just can't do that anymore, especially now as an adult. It's very hard. I feel like when I was a teenager, I would just come back from high school, from whatever, and then I would just like read all day, and that's like my life. I feel like now as an adult, I have to set a time for reading. Let me know if you relate, right? You have to find time for reading, which is like, you have to find time for all things that you love anyways, right? There's been a lot to catch you guys up on. The first few questions are from a website. I got them from Books R42. So the first question is, how many books are you planning to read in 2025? Realistically, I remember I said it on Fable. I said 20. Oh my gosh, they already gave me my reading summary in Fable. I was looking for that. So far it says I have read 6 out of 20 books. So for this year, actually, I am now counting books of the Bible. I only count the books of the Bible that I actually study and finish reading completely. For example, if I just read a few verses from Psalms, I'm not going to say I read Psalms. Unless I read the whole entire book of Psalms and I meditated on it, yes. If I didn't do that, so then I'm not going to count it. As you'll see throughout this book tag, I'm making the Bible a priority this year. So it kind of aligns with my reading goals, things like that. And I don't get like paid for it or anything, I just use it. Let's read my reader summary, guys. Okay, my reader summary says, I'm an inspiring explorer. You found emotional threads, connecting thrillers, heartwarming tales, and historical dramas. Your reading list is inspiring, exploring the range of human emotions through your stories. I agree. I feel like I'm definitely at that point and stage in my life. Let's get back to the book tag, shall we? Yes, I know my British accent is actually quite horrible. I'm bad at accents, I can't. What genre do you want to read more of? So far I catch myself reading nonfiction. I have a lot of books right now in my bookshelf that are like biblical based books, that's what I call it, or even self-help books that I haven't finished because I do like taking things one at a time now. As I mentioned, here and there, based off of my mood, I go back to a book. Now I catch myself wanting to read historical fiction where romance isn't the focus. For example, Firefly Lane. If you want to know more about it, there's a video out about it, reading like the whole book blurb and everything. So I'll tag anything that I mentioned in a video down below. And then the last one I said, I want to try to read classics. I have like a few classics on my shelf. Peter Pan, and then I also have Pride and Prejudice. Comment down below what your favorite classic is. I would love to know. Question number 3. What's a book you have had forever and are determined to read? Surprise, surprise! The Bible! The Bible. Let me just say, getting a journaling Bible was exactly what I needed. I've always gave myself an excuse. I'm not gonna buy a journaling Bible because I'm not gonna end up using it. I could already take notes in the ones that I have. Like, no excuse. I used my Post-its. I used the sides. A practice that I can share that has helped me and maybe will help you is that whenever there's something going on in your life and you're genuinely sad, whether it's you're anxious, you're fearful, you're stressed, you're worried, the first thing you would do is probably cry about it. Maybe you would talk to God about it. Honestly, what has helped me is the moment I feel some sort of way, I go to Google or AI. I mean, now with the technology, it's amazing. We should take advantage of it. So I go, what are some verses that you can give me that could help with fear or anxiety or healing, right? Even the Bible app has verses for that. So I go to the recommendations, I open my Bible, and then I read that verse and sometimes even read the context of the verse. So if the verse is like, for example, 13:5, I start from verse 13 and then read that whole chapter. And then I pray about it and I talk to God. Or you could even ask Google and you can say, give me a story based on the Bible that has dealt with what I'm feeling now. I feel like you will always find an answer and God will always speak to you. And you won't automatically see clarity, right? The moment you start. You'll probably still feel some sort of trouble, but if you keep putting that into practice every day and praying about it, eventually God will speak to you, because he has been speaking to me. And sometimes it's in the quiet and the time and dedication that we spent with God that God overshadows us with his peace. Number 4, what are 3 of your reading goals for 2025? So 3 of the ones that I wrote is, I want to read for knowledge, I want to read for growth, I want to finish reading nonfiction books as a whole. This is a nonfiction book. That's technically not a biblical based one, but it does talk about the story of his life and connects it with God. For example, something like this is what I wish I could finish. It's a real life story about his past and how he found God while making music. So, what authors are you hoping to explore more in 2025? Joyce Myers. I've started this book, and then when I went to a Christian library, I saw that she had more books. R.C. Sproul. I read The Holiness of God, loved it. It was a recommendation from BookTuber. I have a video up about that if you want to see my thoughts. He's a really great author. C.S. Lewis. So someone recommended me the Screwtape Letters by him. Then other people have recommended Mere Christianity by him. And I want to give him a try. What book are you most likely to reread this year? The first one I already did. A Walk to Remember. The second one is really interesting. It's actually Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. Now wait. I remember reading it during the winter. She was one of the few authors that I read after transitioning from other book apps. I just remember reading this book and it genuinely shook me and took me through an emotional roller coaster. And I wonder if it's because she was just one of the first few authors that I read that kind of had a storyline like this. But because I read it in the winter, I want to see if I read it in the spring or summer, if it would make any difference. Number 7, what is one book you're planning to skip this year or one you're not sure about? Peter Pan. I wanted to finish reading it actually when I got it as a present, but it kind of psyched me out. Basically, when I went on social media, it took me on a loophole of a lot of conspiracy theories on this book. When I was looking at the pictures too, kind of freaked me out. If this is supposed to be like a children's fantasy book, like what happens if I actually read a real fantasy book? Maybe fantasy isn't my genre. I do want to give it a chance. Tinkerbell is my childhood. You've probably looked at this and you're probably like, Allison. So this is Candace Owens' Blackout. During the time that I got this, I was taking a lot of political classes in college. My major is media. Media is most times about politics. During the time, I was just like researching a lot of people. Candace Owens was someone that came up in my For You page. So when I saw her face in this book at the thrift store that I was in, I was like, whoa, you know what? This is interesting. I don't know if I'll read this book this year because when I was taking a lot of those political classes, I got very anxious and I just want to break from politics, and I know that's so bad and you can't really escape it, right? And I'm not saying like I want politics to disappear. I've had to see it so much during my academic years, and I've had to write about it so much that I just need a break from it because I want to focus on other things in my life right now. And I'm pretty unbiased when it comes to politics. I try to see the different sides of the story, but it doesn't mean that I agree with one or the other. At the end of the day, this is not what my channel is about, nor I ever want it to be about. Number 8, what is one book you're feeling particularly excited to read this year? I'm at a stage in life where my people-pleasing days are starting to end. If you watch my Quietly Bold podcast, which is my Christian podcast on this channel, you will just see a huge growth and shift. Before I was a really shy and anxious people pleaser, I'm starting to grow out of that phase. This book, I want to keep reading it. Now that I graduated college and am looking for a job that aligns with my major and career choice, I want to see how I can connect my work to God's work. So I said, let me buy a book, because you know, sometimes you work probably a very casual job and you're like, I'm working this job, but I don't really see how it can connect to what God has for me or how it connects to God's will for my life. The enemy sometimes will try to lie to you and tell you that the choice of your career is not for you. And that's my case. God has shown and proved to me that what I'm doing is right. That did not come easy to me. My choice of major, personally, I've had a lot of people tell me, are you sure you want to do this? Don't you know what's going on in the world? Like, you're Christian. Are you sure that media is right for you? You'll probably get lost. You know, there's just been a lot of self-doubt with that. I feel like there's so much more to media. God gives you talents and you gotta recognize what those talents are, because sometimes the enemy will try to strip you away from those talents. I had to think about and designate, hey, is this just a a talent that God has placed that's not supposed to be a professional one, or is this a talent that I need to take on to a professional level? And after much prayer, Jesus has shown me that this is a talent that I must take into a professional level. I feel like I have so much ambition and passion and dedication to this thing. Like, it's been my life since I was a child, and it hasn't went away. I mean, I graduated and I still love what I do. I've been through so many probably like traumatic things, and I still love what I do. So it's definitely a sign that this is what I'm meant to do. Because, for example, I love singing, but I wouldn't want to be a musician. So that's how I know the difference. I do sing in church still, and I use that talent to glorify God in that way, but professional level wise, I don't think it's for me. I don't have that desire in my heart. So yeah, I purchased this one like 2 days ago. It's Shannon Bream. Lately there has been so many boss female fearful women of God in my life that has just been such a positive influence in my life. I'm just in awe. Jesus can really use these women, and Jesus has used women in the Bible to glorify him before as well. What is one book that you think everyone should read besides the Bible? Obviously, I always go back to The Holiness of God, and that's why I'm coming back to this book. I think everyone should read it, especially those who doubt, who have a lot of questions about God and holiness, and why we are called to a holy life when devoting our lives to Christ. Why is it not okay to be like the world? You know, why are we called to be set apart? So I definitely recommend you to read it. What is one book that you think you'll be surprised by? A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I opened this book for a YouTube video, and it's basically going on a blind date with a book. I mentioned that I DNF'd this book a long time ago, but that's because I was in an airplane and I had it digitally, and for some reason I couldn't really connect with it, because I mentioned that when things are written in like email formats, it kind of takes away from the book for me. For others it could be helpful, but personally for me, I found it distracting. I want to give it another chance because everyone loves it. It is now a show. I could be surprised by this book if I let myself be. So I want to show you this amazing gift that my mother brought me back from Guatemala. It has my name engraved. It's so cute and típico, as we call it. Típico means very unique to the country. And it says Guatemala, and it has like a little symbol of Tikal, which obviously was built by Mayans. I haven't used it yet. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I've genuinely been just so grateful for you guys. I always look at my channel and I say, wow, you guys are the best. It doesn't go unnoticed, so I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, guys.